You're going to have to decide on this one, Paul. Are you a soldier or a policeman?
I'm a soldier, sir.
Is this Paul Brenner speaking?
This is Paul Brenner, the courier army officer, speaking, not the cop.
You'd better start thinking about your career. You understand?
You better start thinking about yours.
You do that, and you can kiss your career goodbye.
You traded her trust for your career.
The General's Daughter was released in 1999 and was based on the novel of the same name by Nelson DeMille. It tells the story of Paul Brenner, a sharp army detective investigating the murder of a young female army captain who happens to be the daughter of a powerful and renowned army general. Along with investigator and his former flame, Sarah Sunhill, the two uncover a mystery of secrets, conspiracy, and ultimately, betrayal. The film received some criticism for its fictional portrayal of West Point, the legalities of crime investigation within the military, and even the politics of military life. Some could even make the criticism that the film could have had a real moral dilemma by having General Campbell cover up what happened to his daughter for the sake of protecting women in the military, but instead just took the Hollywood approach and made him a typical bad guy by only caring about his career and not his daughter. But the point that some are missing is this is meant to play into the movie's core theme. When a soldier comes out of battle alive or they achieve something victorious, they earn stars, medals, plaques, a handshake from the president, anything that gains them a famous reputation and honor as a soldier and worthy comrade. But what happens when that pride gets to a soldier's head? When does pride become arrogance? When is heroism used for selfishness? When is reputation used for personal gain? In The General's Daughter, General Campbell is meant to be the epitome of a great soldier, a good friend, and worthy ally. But hidden underneath all those service ribbons and American flag facade is a man who was once good, but became corrupted by his own uniform. So at the start of the film, when Paul is undercover and handles business with the freedom fighter guy, the man observes the weapons by holding one up in his arms. This is a subtle way of him asserting his own pride. But when Paul starts to make fun of him, the man drops the rifle and starts to intimidate him, only for him to be pinned up against the fence by his arm. He let his own pride get the better of him, and he paid the price for it. But instead of sucking it up, the man quietly threatens Paul with the promise of meeting up with him. He later stalks Paul at his boathouse and tries to murder him. Paul, however, gets the upper hand, so to speak, and ends him. Bill Kent is a soldier who takes his rank very seriously. Another character even goes so far as to call him
Captain America himself. Kent.
He clearly admires General Campbell and has a fondness, to put it mildly, for Elizabeth.
See, I just wanted to be with her forever. She owned my heart.
When he's revealed to be the killer of Elizabeth by the end, it's not because he was obsessed with her and became furious when she rejects him as just another lay. It's actually because she hit a certain button that became fatal.
You're a disgrace. You're not a soldier. You're not even a man. You're just a fuck.
By the end, when Kent presses the fuse on the bomb to go off, it's because if he's arrested, he'll go down as a killer and a disgrace of a soldier, so he prefers to go down on his own terms. Jake Elby, the general's aide, at first glance is an example of a loyal, clean-cut soldier, even to the point where Paul himself thinks he might be a bit of a tool.
He's cute.
Oh, please. He probably practices a salute in the mirror for hours.
However, once Paul and Sarah get deeper into the investigation, he attacks Sarah to send a warning shot to both of them.
This is the army. So you tell Brenner you don't shit on your brothers.
He doesn't want to be found out about what he's been doing and have his career ruined. When they question him about it, he admits that he was fooling around with Elizabeth, and with her gone, he's finally able to retire with his dignity and honor as a soldier, maybe even fix a failed marriage. However, Paul implies that his reputation is tarnished and his honor is now tainted because of his crimes. He threatens him with his weapon, and Elby, realizing that it's all over for him anyway, decides to come clean with everything that's going on. Colonel Fowler is a man who is so dedicated to his and his best friend's careers that he vehemently defends him, even though he thinks Joe killed his own daughter for it. He strongly requests that Brenner not arrest anyone unless he knows about it first. Maybe you could say that he just doesn't want an investigator lurking around, or he might think that Brenner is an exceptional detective, so he wants to keep a close watch on him since he and the General's careers are back on the line again. When he tries to tell Brenner that his investigation is done, Brenner defiantly tells him that he's going to keep doing it, orders be damned. Fowler then threatens him with his career, but Brenner fires back, saying he has the power to end him as well. Fowler remains stern, but retreats. During the scene where he confesses his whereabouts the night of the murder, he suddenly gets defensive about Joe and even sympathizes with him.
Wasn't like she didn't give him reason.
This is the moment where he thinks it's all over anyway, that the truth is out there, and his conscience comes crashing down on him. Joe is suddenly confused by this and tries to address him as his best friend.
George, for Christ's sake!
But he still persists, so he addresses him by his rank.
Colonel Fowler!
But Fowler then confesses that Joe did what was necessary for their careers, to which Joe then talks to him like a stranger.
You think I killed my own daughter?
It'll die with me, Joe.
You sorry son of a bitch.
General Joe Campbell once was a great man and an excellent soldier, but even a good soldier can fall, and not just on the battlefield. Early in the film, when Brenner goes into the story about when they were both in Nam, he recalls how Joe made him feel comforted after seeing the fear on him, telling him about how the Red Sox won another game against the Cardinals in the World Series, giving Paul more confidence that he was going to make it home. Something to note, though, is that Joe was just a captain at the time, not very high in the ranks. Now he's a general, and as they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But what is the moment that became the general's downfall? When did he stop caring about everything else and only think about his military career? After what happened to his daughter Elizabeth, he begs for justice for her. However, the general next to him convinces him to just put it behind him and get her to forget about it. This is meant to be the death of the good man he was, and making a deal with the devil, as it were, selling his soul, betraying his own flesh and blood to protect the sanctity of his career and the reputation of the university, earning him another star and losing his daughter's respect, all because of the lie he was told that they would never be able to find who did it. Paul Brenner is not just a CID detective, but an aspiring army officer. He not only respects General Joe Campbell, but practically idolizes him, maybe even hoped to serve under him someday. When he watches him on TV, he salutes back, showing how he would one day like to be saluted by him in real life. He practically falls for Elizabeth upon meeting her. However, his ego and pride takes a beating when he thanks her with bath products and she accuses him of sexism and sends him walking. When he gets deeper into the secret world that she was running, he still maintains his career attitude by protecting the lives of everyone, including his hero, the general. When he argues with Sunhill in the bar, she basically scolds him for not fighting hard enough for her against her furious fiancé. Hell, he even won a Bronze Star for being brave against much worse. But he maintains that his decorations mean nothing to him, and that he's brave only when he needs to be. The more he learns about Elizabeth, the more he's intrigued by her and what made her change during her sophomore year. She was brutalized, and what's worse, her father did nothing about it. She took revenge in her own way. She hit him right where she knew it would hurt the most. His career. The reason for him not helping her at all. She started sleeping around with practically the whole base and then telling him about it afterward. It's not a good look for a respected general and hopeful vice president to have a daughter who is a dominatrix that sleeps around with his immediate staff and then some. After Paul discovers all of this, his views and priorities start to change. By the end, after discovering Kent being the culprit, General Campbell rewards Paul by giving him a letter of commendation. Paul's career is all set. He's even gotten something that he's always wanted, a salute from his hero. But at this point, Paul doesn't care about his career anymore. He only cares about what's right.
General Campbell. You're wrong. I'm a rotten soldier.
Which is something that nobody on this base would ever say. Paul tells him that he's going to reveal every detail about Joe's involvement in this case. Joe threatens him that he'll end his career if he does, but Paul tells him that his career is already over. He's not going to let his uniform and military status interfere with his morals. He's a shining example of a good man and a good soldier. At the start of the film, General Campbell was taking a hero's walk with thunderous applause, but at the end, he's taking a walk of shame, so to speak, bringing not just his daughter's casket to the grave, but his career as well.